Hey everyone, thanks for joining today. I am Scott Thompson, the Director of Partnerships here at Wherefour, and I'm here with one of our trusted partners, David Singletary from DJS Digital. David, thanks for joining us today. And today we're going to take a quick look at DJS Digital and how they help their customers, as well as maybe take a quick peek at Wherefour as well. David, yeah, again, appreciate you joining. Why don't you tell us a little bit about DJS Digital? How long you guys have been around, and what's come since.
Thanks, Scott. Thanks for having me on. So DJS Digital was founded by myself in 2020. Um, I come from a technology background. I spent many years doing software implementations, project management, and software selection. So I started my business in 2020, the summer of 2020. 4 years later, we're doing well. We're growing, and we're focusing on small to medium-sized companies, helping them with software selection, helping them find software for their business, doing implementations, process improvements, along with other services.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, it sounds like things are going well. And I guess I'm curious, why are companies typically reaching out to DJS? Is there a particular reason, or, are there a few?
There's several. A lot of times they're in the market for new software, and with so many options, it kind of becomes overwhelming. So what we do is we take that pressure off those companies. So we go and learn about their business. We document how they currently do things, along with any pain points and problems they're trying to solve. So we will then do the legwork of finding the right solution for them to match those requirements. So instead of the company spinning their wheels trying to find software, we've learned about their business, we've learned about their pain points. We know the different software applications, so we're trying to find the best software to match their business. So if the company also, sometimes we have people that have already selected their software and they just need help with implementations. So we help them with that as well.
Okay, awesome. And do you guys typically focus on any particular industries, or does it really run the gamut?
It does run the gamut, but we do have a lot of our customers in the manufacturing and retail space, but we're not limited to that. But companies that have an inventory management component to it, trying to keep track of their inventory as far as manufacturing, creating bill of materials, and that traceability and that tracking of that inventory to make sure that their most valuable assets that they use are being tracked.
Yep, that certainly makes sense, and I can understand why that would be important. I guess, how would I know when is the right time to call DJS? Is there a specific stage of maturity for a company that makes the most sense?
That's a good question, and it does vary, right?
Hmm.
So if you're an existing customer, your existing business, and you feel that you're not getting the bang from your buck from your current system, that could be a good opportunity. You're spending too much time trying to find a new software solution, or you're doing things the wrong way, but businesses, just gets in the way, right? You're trying to run your business, you need a new solution, but maybe you just don't have the bandwidth to do that. So that's also an opportunity to call for some help, so someone can help with that. Also, if you're starting a business, you're starting a business from the beginning, the best thing to do is have all your process and procedures and the right technology in place when you begin, so that as you grow, you're letting the software help you grow versus doing things manually or taking away from what you're trying to do with your business with manual tasks and spreadsheets and systems that just aren't helping you. It's really it's hindering your growth. So you want to put something in place from the beginning so that your business can become more efficient. There are also instances where, if someone does reach out to us as part of that initial review of their business, we want to make sure they're maximizing their current solution so that, you know, they may not know certain features are available in that software, or they just haven't had the opportunity to use them. So we want to make sure they've maximized that software before they start looking at something else. And that goes into just process improvement, where we look at people, process, and systems to make sure that all those three things are working correctly.
Okay. Yeah, that certainly sounds like it'd be very helpful. I know that a lot of the folks we talk to, time is one of those most important things for them, the time of their day, and so being able to help them use those systems more efficiently has a lot of value. And I know you mentioned business process improvement. Do you mind expanding on that a little bit? Like, what does that look like for the businesses that you work with? I'd imagine it varies depending on the industry and type of business, but I'd be interested to learn a little bit more about that.
Yeah, good question. I think this is a good opportunity for a lot of companies. I think a lot of the larger organizations probably have this in place because they have the resources. But a lot of the medium-sized or smaller companies may not think about it. And basically, what it is um, documenting what they currently do and how they use their current systems. So what I typically do is I go to a company and I work with the different department heads, or whoever is actually working on the process, and we walk through each step of their process and we document it. We create flow charts, and it normally is a great exercise because a lot of times you may have different departments that they work in silos and they don't realize how one department affects the other. So having that conversation actually brings up a lot of questions within the organization, like, "Oh, I didn't know you did it that way," or "Why are you doing it this way?" So it a you get documentation of your current processes. You're having an open conversation about what you're currently doing, meaning some things are working and some things are not working, which I think in itself is a good opportunity for improvement. And then, we look at those three things. Are we looking at the right people, the right process, and the right systems in place? So out of that could be, the software that you're working on is not the right fit because it's not giving you the features and the functionality that you need to be successful. Or you could have, people doing extra work when they shouldn't have because they're not leveraging the software. So what we do is we then provide them with a future state or to be state of these are the improvements that you can make based upon our observation. And recommendations of that could be a new software solution, or it could be, a new feature of the current software that they have that either they didn't know about, or they just weren't prepared to start using it, or it could just be additional training. Like people just don't know how to use the system because there's a lot of turnover. So
Yep.
using all those three components, providing them with some documentation and some ways to improve the business.
Okay. Awesome. Well, yeah, definitely appreciate you sharing about, how you guys are helping customers and why folks might want to reach out. So, you heard it, folks. If you guys are in need of, system selections or business process improvement and need some help in the manufacturing retail space, give David and DJS, a look and reach out to them so that they can help with that.
Great. So I know we talked about my business a little bit, and I think people out there are curious about Wherefour. Can you tell us a little bit about your business and who do you guys work with?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Wherefour is an inventory ERP system, and so that really means that we're giving one system for folks to be able to do their purchasing, production, cost tracking, order fulfillment out of. And so, we are typically helping folks who are also small and medium-sized businesses. The industries that we typically work in, we see a lot of folks in the food and beverage space, cannabis, nutraceuticals, supplements, personal care items, really anything that's going to need traceability. And, most of our customers are also doing some form of production or manufacturing as well. So, that's kind of the typical customer that we're helping with, and at a 30,000 foot view, what the company is as a whole as well.
Great. So like the manufacturing, like what are you seeing how important that traceability is?
Yeah, so traceability is quite important for our customers that we're working with for a number of different reasons, right? So there's recall readiness and audit readiness. We have some folks who have mentioned that they've cut their audit times by over 50%. So being able to put that time back in the day and having documents and reports that are ready at the click of a button so that they can access those when it's needed. With the recall piece, being able to identify if there is a recall, what items are affected. So, does that apply to my finished goods? Does it apply to my WIP items or raw materials? Along with, is there anything that's been shipped out? So, are there customers that I need to notify? And by being able to do that accurately, it's going to limit the impact that has to your business because if you don't have good tracking on that, then you're not really sure what exact lots are going to be affected by that. And you're going to have to basically either waste inventory or offer credits to customers, in excess of what you really need to be doing, if you have a good understanding of, what exact lots are affected, and we can limit that damage. Um, you know, on top of that, the other piece there is a lot of our customers are using products that have expiration dates. So if we have multiple different lots that have different expiration dates, we want to keep good traceability on those different lots because if we're not using things in the most effective way, then we may be letting some of those things expire when they could be utilized for production or order fulfillment. And then that's a waste of our company's money. And so basically, by ensuring that we're using things in a smart way, we're going to make the best use of our inventory and avoid things like inventory write-offs and credits and things of that nature.
So what size companies do you typically work with, or like where in the journey do you think they are? Are they startups, more mature customers? Like where do you see your customers coming from?
Yeah, so it does vary a little bit. I would say that companies from $1 to $2 million in revenue up to, maybe around $50 million in revenue are kind of what we see the most frequently. There's certainly some that are a little bit smaller, some that are quite a bit larger as well. We find that really folks in that range are kind of starting to outgrow spreadsheets, or maybe they've been using a system that's primarily geared towards accounting, and it doesn't handle the inventory and operations really well. Then, typically that's a good indicator that if we're spending too much time on tracking inventory or it's not accurate, then it might be a good time to contact, an inventory ERP system and think about bringing that on board. Obviously, they can contact someone like DJS if they need some help with that process. But some of the other indicators that we see are, they're having trouble tracking the cost of goods sold. Or, we touched on the recall and audit readiness if they need some help with that traceability compliance and compliance piece. Um, Resource planning, is another piece that if we're not preparing for our demand, then, that can negatively impact our business. And then the last piece is really that as companies scale, sometimes they enter into agreements with, folks like Whole Foods or Costco, Walmart, some of those types of folks. And some of those retailers actually will request that companies have systems in place to appropriately manage these things because if they don't have those systems in place, sometimes orders get short shipped, or if they do have a recall, they want to make sure that they're not pulling everything off of the shelves and that they're able to identify, hey, it's just this case right here that we need to pull off, and adequately plan for that demand that comes with some of those larger retailers as well.
Definitely sounds like a lot of good things for your customers. How does Wherefour help these businesses become more profitable? I know some of the things you mentioned are probably part of that.
Yeah, absolutely. So, we kind of touched on the tracking of materials and avoiding waste and write-off and things of that nature. So, yeah, as we use the lot tracking to ensure that we're using things before they expire, that's certainly helpful. But then also being able to ensure that we understand all of our expenses to be able to set our prices accordingly. So, if we're needing to track labor expenses or co-manufacturing fees or overhead expenses. Those are all things that can be done in the system to give us a better insight into how we need to plan. Are there more efficient ways to do this? Or, after they have tracked their costs accurately of the cost of making their good, and then we get to the sales side of things, we can take a look at the profit margins and see, okay, well, by item or by customer, are we profitable? And by how much? Could we potentially reduce our price and maybe reach more of our market that we're trying to get in touch with? Or, do we need to increase our price right now because currently some of those different items or customers are not seeing a profitability standpoint. So, those are some of the ways that we would help. And I think just having all of that in one system that feeds into the accounting platform that's being used, whether it's QuickBooks or Xero or Sage or any of the number of different accounting platforms that we integrate with, it's super helpful to our customers to be able to track all of that and then kind of take a step back and analyze it to make sure that they're moving forward in a positive way.
That's good. It's good that you have multiple options as far as accounting. The accounting piece is very important, so they have choices of what application that you can actually integrate with.
Yeah, absolutely. It certainly seems valuable to our customers.
So they probably want to maybe take a quick look at what the screens look like, maybe give us an
Yeah.
idea of what the platform looks like.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me go ahead and show that very quickly. We'll just take a quick peek into the system, and that way, folks can kind of get a sense of what the system looks like, what it has to offer, and to determine if it could be a fit for them. So here we'll see our dashboard where we would be able to, customize this to the folks who are using it. So if someone in finance wants it to look one way, and the folks in operations want it to look another way, we can customize that. But ultimately, here we can just see some highlights of our different production metrics and sales and purchasing activity, along with some of our low stock alerts and things of that nature to help with planning. And then up here at the top, we'll see our different modules. So we do have production module, formulas, inventory, customers and vendors, and compliance, as well as reports. So just a quick peek into some of these. Production is going to allow for us to not only initiate work orders and look through the ones that we've worked on or are currently working on, but we can also use a calendar to plan things out. We can see our scheduled orders, look at our forecasts and MRP analysis. The formulas is really where we would set up those different bills of materials, assemblies and disassemblies, as well as kits, templates if we need to use multiple bills of materials together. And any of our inventory items are going to be stored here in inventory. We can always search or use SKUs or UPC codes to find those and look at all of our different on-hand amounts, inventory values and things of that nature. Within customers is where we would find, customers, typically wholesale customers, where we have their profile in here, payment terms, and is there a sales rep that should be attached, delivery method, things of that nature. We can also look at our orders, invoices. We can pick and ship our orders, process returns, and issue credits, as well as look at standing orders. Vendors would be similar, but we're going to just see, those vendors along with our purchase orders, and if we need to receive anything into the warehouse. compliance will allow for us to take a look at those documents. So we talked about some of that audit readiness and recall readiness. If we do want to pull a certificate of analysis or something of that nature for an audit, we would have all those stored here. We can tag them in certain ways that make them easy to find, and we could even set up test definitions if folks need to do some testing, and we can go ahead and either invalidate or approve those test results in the system. And then lastly, we have a reports section here, which would allow for us to look at a lot of different types of reports, anything from work order reports to recall reports, activity reports that kind of really track everything going on within our operations, as well as things like fulfillments, shipments, returns, and so on. But yeah, I think if folks are interested, they should reach out and ask for some more information. I just wanted to give a real quick peek into the system to kind of give a sense of what it looks like, what it feels like, and let folks kind of make their decision if it's something that could be applicable for their business. But David, I really appreciate the time today. It's really been great kind of just learning about some of the overlap and the types of customers we work with, and why they may be reaching out to DJS, and what that benefit is there, and was happy to kind of share with your audience about Wherefour a little bit as well. So you heard it here, folks. If you need some help with system selections, process improvement, reach out to David and the DJS team, and feel free to reach out to us here at Wherefour as well. And have a great day.
Thanks, Scott, for the time.
Thanks, David.